Hey guys, I'm Andrew Berg, and today we'll be talking about the most practical way you can learn your major scales. If you're watching this video, chances are that you're fairly new to your instrument, decide to take a stronger theory approach to music, or you're just watching random videos on YouTube. Well, assuming it's one of the first two, the reason I think this is the most practical way you can learn your major scales is I'm going to teach you to look at any key signature and instantly know what key you're in and what scale it's based off of. Because at the end of the day, scales are meant to help us be able to play music and songs better. I was taught how to play my major scales in school and through private lessons, and I was wondering why everyone made it so difficult. Whether they're teaching you solfege, the do-re-mis of music, or the whole half distance between the notes approach, it always felt a little unnecessary to me. These things can really help, but I don't think it has to be this complicated to actually learn how to play the scales or use the theory in the music that you want to play. Before I start, it would be best if you know how to play all 12 notes on your instrument. If you don't, you can still get a lot from this video, but you may want to come back again and rewatch once you've learned the rest of your notes. We're going to start with this chromatic scale. This is every single note that we have available to us in about 2 octaves. It goes from this low C all the way up to this high C. I put it on 2 different lines here so you can see the alternate ways you can write the notes, because some notes have 2 names they can be called by. So we have C, C sharp, which is the same as D flat, D, D sharp, which is the same as E flat, E, and this one gets a little tricky. So there's no note between E and F. The next note chromatically higher than E is always F. So then what would an F flat be? Well, that would just be an E. And the same way, an E sharp is just an F. Continuing, we have F sharp, or G flat, G, G sharp, or A flat, A sharp, or B flat, B, and this one gets a little tricky again. The next note chromatically up from B is C, just like between E and F. So C flat is B, and B sharp is C. And then it repeats again. I know this might be a little confusing, but it'll make sense in a little bit. Okay, before we go further and actually play the scales, we need to go over the circle of fifths. As you can see, as we go around the circle to the right, like a clock, we are adding 1 sharp note each time. As we go around the circle to the left, we are adding 1 flat note each time. Now, I purposely left the note names off of this and only gave you the key signatures because I'm going to tell you my trick to always being able to figure out what key you're in based on that key signature. But first, let's talk about the order of sharps and flats. Follow along, and I promise you'll be learning your scales in no time. All right, so when you see a key signature like this, it can look terrifying, but it's really not. Here's how I remember the order of sharps. We have F, C, G, D, A, E, and B. By itself, that's kind of hard to remember, but I have a fun way you can think about it. Fat cats get dopey after eating bologna. There's a dozen other ways you can think about this, but I mean, what's better than thinking about fat cats eating bologna? Nothing. Nothing is better than that. So remember, F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Fat cats get dopey after eating bologna. Okay, now on to the order of flats. The order of flats is B, E, A, D, G, C, and F. I apologize up front, I don't have anything as amazing as bologna cats if you remember this by, but there are a couple other ways you can remember. The first, big elephants always drive golf carts fast. Or you can just remember them together to make the word bead followed by GCF, like greatest common factor if you're a math person. And if these don't work for you, these are actually just the complete opposite order of sharps. Sharps are fat cats get dopey after eating bologna. Flats are B, E, A, D, G, C, and F. Okay, now that we know this, let's go back to the circle of fifths. So we start at the top with no sharps or flats. Then we add 1 sharp, which is fat, F. Now let's take this one here, 4 sharps. So we have fat cats get dopey, F, C, G, and D. And if we do the same for flats, 3 flats is big elephants always, B, E, A. Okay, now let's figure out what keys these are. For this, there are two you have to just know. The rest you can figure out. The two you have to know are C, which has no sharps or flats, and F, which has one flat. But let's say you want to know what this one with two flats is. All you have to do is look at what the second to last flat is that was added, and that's your key. So if we have two flats, B flat and E flat, then you're in the key of B flat. Okay, let's say you have four flats. B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. I'll give you a second to think about it. Well, the second to last flat added here is A flat. So we're in the key of A flat. Now let's look at sharps. For these, all we have to do is look at the last sharp that was added and go up a half step. That's one note higher on our chromatic scale, such as from C sharp to D. So if we have one sharp in the key signature, F sharp, then we go up a half step from there and we have G. Let's do one more. Let's pick that example I gave before with 7 sharps. That means every single note is sharp. So let's break that down with baloney cats. Fat cats get dopey after eating bologna. That means our last sharp added is bologna sharp. Now, before you say that a half step up from B sharp is C, you have to remember that B sharp is the same note as C. So the note a half step above B sharp is really C sharp. So this key signature with every note sharp is C sharp. I'm now going to fill in the rest of these key signature names for you, including alternates such as D flat instead of C sharp. Okay, I know, I promise you scales. So here we go. Let's take this chromatic scale really quick that we looked at earlier. So every single major scale uses every letter of the alphabet from A to G. That means every single scale will have some version of A, some version of B, some version of C, etc. Let's just take this easy and start with no sharps and no flats. That would make this the key of C. So let's just circle the notes on our chromatic scale here, starting from C and following this key signature. Since we have no sharps or flats, we have C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. Now let's add them to the staff. The C major scale is C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. It's that easy. Here's what that sounds like. I play the alto sax, so I'll be playing this in concert C, so we're all on the same page. Let's do 2 more. So say we have 2 flats. That means we have big elephants, B and E. So since we know that we take the second to last flat added, and that's the name of our scale, we have B flat. So let's start circling notes starting on B flat. We have B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, and A. That has every letter of the alphabet from A to G and uses our key signature, so we're golden. Let's add it to our staff now. B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, and A. And here's what that sounds like. Again, I will be playing in concert pitch. Okay, last example before you write the rest yourself. Let's take this one with 6 sharps. That means all notes are sharp but 1. So, using baloney cats, is fat cats get dopey after eating. The last sharp here is E sharp, so a half step up from that is F sharp. Now let's build a scale using every letter from A to G, using our key signature, and starting on F sharp. We have F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E sharp. So there we have it. It has all the letters and all the notes are sharp but 1, and that 1 is B. Now let's add it to our staff. F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E sharp. Here's what that sounds like. Now, one last thing about actually playing your major scales. Typically, you will start them on the first note, say C, and you'll play from C up to the ninth note, in this case D, and then go back down again to the C. So this is what that looks and sounds like. Well, that's all there is to it. I'll be posting a link in the description if you want to download a sheet of all the major scales, but I still encourage you to figure them out for yourself first, using the methods we talked about. My name is Andrew Berg, and if you like this video and want to learn more about music, I'll be posting once a week about various topics, from practical instructional videos like this, to broad overviews and discussions, to philosophical musical satire. Please comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions for me, and don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and smash the notification bell so you get notified the next time I post. Oh, and one last thing. Practice.